Hi there, my name's Lisa Goldheart and I am a self-taught artist from Southwest London. So this is my first exhibition and it's called The Tarot of Southwest London. The show is being held at the Battersea Library on Lavender Hill and it's forming part of this year's Wandsworth Art Fringe for 2024 and the Wandsworth Heritage Programme. So the art exhibition's running from the 7th until the 22nd of June 2024 and it's during library opening hours. I decided to create this because I really wanted to create my own tarot deck, but I didn't just want to create any kind of tarot deck. I wanted to create it with real people and real places from my hometown in Wandsworth. Because to me, when people come to a tarot reader, they come because they want to know the answers to something. They might want to know about money, love, health. And I thought, how cool would it be if you could actually get real life advice from real people that represent the tarot. And if you actually look around the neighbourhood where you live, you'll probably find people that represent the major arcana. So this art exhibition is a representation of the major arcana in a modern day form. So if you look at the Ethelberger Tower, that painting represents the Tower tarot card. But if you look at the original tarot card, it's a picture of this burning building and people falling out of it and screaming. It's like really horrific and negative. I wanted to make it more positive. So in this one, I've done her dressed in an NHS uniform, surrounded by flowers, and I've called it transformation because the tower doesn't just represent sudden change. It's all about transforming, something changing in your life, and sometimes that can be for the better. The Rainsford brothers, they work down Battersea High Street, and they've been down there since the 1970s. Their grandparents started the business in the 1900s on a horse and cart. Terry carried on the business on a stall on Battersea High Street from 1970. And then in 1984, he bought this shop for £18,000. And then later on, Bill came in, this gentleman, Bill, is really lovely. And they have run this family business for all the way up until now. This painting took, let me think, so this painting took me about 3 months to complete. But it was an intensive labour painting. So if I was to take my time, I probably would have taken longer, about a year. But because obviously I had to try and meet the deadline for the show, it took intensive labour of 3 months. And there was a lot of up-close stuff with magnifying glasses and lighting. There's so many different greens in this painting. You've not just got the shop, you've also got this grass table throws, you've got the cabbages, you've got kale, you've got the sprouts. So you have to understand the different textures and the different colours in the green. There are so many different variations of green. But obviously I've got a limited colour palette, so I have to add a bit of brown or add a bit of yellow or add a bit of orange or something to try and brighten it or darken it. I really like this painting because it's got a really good perspective on it. So you can look right back into the shop and you can see their high-vis work jackets and the onions and lemons and things on the shelf. Although it took a long time to do, it is one of my favourite paintings, and I'm so happy that they did their video interview. I really love this one. So the Life and Soul actually represents the Sun tarot card. And the sun originally has a picture of a little boy riding on a horse with the ray of sun coming down. So it's supposed to be about youth and vibrancy and being playful and joyful. I've decided to recreate this in the modern sense. So in my eyes, the sun grows the food that we eat. And by eating the food, we're technically eating the sun. So therefore, our life force comes from the sun. And these people, they are the ones that basically give us that sun. And they are the life and soul of the marketplace. That's what they represent. And it's part of the Southwest London legacy, which I love. The Timekeeper is a painting of Mr. John Loucher, and he runs a watch repair shop on Battersea Park Road. So the shop was actually bought in the 1950s by his parents, and he carried on the family business after his dad passed away. I don't know him personally, but I know his face. Obviously, I've grown up in the area. I've been going in that shop for many years, and it's just full of really old clocks, old books, pictures from Battersea, all black and white photos. He has a massive amount of customers coming in, like repeat customers, because he has this oldie, worldy, traditional face-to-face customer service thing about him. So when you go in, he'll actually serve you face-to-face. He'll handwrite you a receipt. And when I painted this, I wanted to sort of capture him as the Emperor tarot card. And the Emperor tarot card represents somebody who is a sort of businessman, who's of a person who's trusted, of great integrity. And that's how I see John. Like, he's a person that's really trusted in the community, and that's shown by the amount of repeat customers that he gets. So the watches in the painting, if you actually look really closely, each one hints towards the numbers 3, 6 and 9, because the numbers 3, 6 and 9, according to Nikola Tesla, were to do with a connection to the universe. Those numbers hold the key or the secrets to the universe. So I wanted to represent that because I don't think time is as we think it is. To me, time is more messages from the universe. So time is numbers, and numbers is numerology, and numerology is messages. So if you look in the cabinet, it says numerology messages, and there's 9 little dots. So 3, 6, 9. There's 3 lights. It's a very positive painting. It definitely represents the Emperor Tarot card to me. John is a bit shy, isn't too keen on doing the YouTube interview at the moment, but I'm still trying to convince him. So that's definitely one of my favourites. This painting took me 10 months to complete, and some of the numerals on the clocks I had to use with a paintbrush that's as small as the head of a pin. The skin on the face, I've had to go over the skin on the face, sometimes up to 6 layers of paint to get the depth of the texture. So when you're doing smile lines and things on people, so like you'll have them in brown and then you'll go over them again in peach. So it sort of just shows through as it would do on skin. So it's like layers and layers of paint. One of my favourite things in this as well is like the reflective surface there on that clock. I was quite chuffed with that, how that turned out. And one of the hardest part, believe it or not, was the ceiling. Trying to get that shadow there on the ceiling to go like that ombre light to dark, that was actually incredibly hard. I had to do the ceiling almost 3 times to get that correct. This clock is actually somewhere on the other side of the room in his actual shop, but I've taken a photo of it and then moved it across into the painting because I felt it was really symbolic, and that time is 3. So it's 3, 3, and then like 3, 3, 3. So you start noticing the numbers now as you're going around. 3 o'clock, 9:30, but it's not actually 9:30. So if it was 9:30, that long hand would be in between the 6 and the 7, but I put it directly on the 6. So it is 9, 6, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. So it's just these repetitive numbers. And what's quite funny is it's the number 4 tarot card, which has nothing to do with 3, 6, and 9. But that's one of my favourite ones, definitely. And then this is a very special painting. So this gentleman here, his name is Jim, and in the original photo, Jim's sitting in the Asparagus pub on Falcon Road by himself on Christmas Eve having a drink, and you'll notice he's got 2 glasses. One's a pint for himself and one's a brandy. And what he does is on special occasions such as like the wedding anniversary, Christmas, birthdays, he'll go to the pub, buy 2 drinks, and he drinks a toast to his wife. So he'll drink his beer and then drink the brandy to toast his wife. I actually asked Jim to pose in the pub because I wanted to sort of capture that moment, because this painting, the Soulmates, represents the Lover's Tarot card, and I wanted to sort of have a real love story behind the painting. So Jim, in his video interview, tells the story of how he met Anne, how he chatted her up, how they got married, how many children they had, and then obviously how she passed away because unfortunately she got cancer and then died. So it's been quite a long time now. And in order to get Anne in this picture, what I've had to do is use a separate photograph of her and then paint her in separately, scale her up to the right size, because standing up she would have been a bit shorter than Jim, so I had to work out the size difference of them 2 from previous photos. And I've done her so she's a little bit on the transparent side, so you can see through her body and see the wood panelling behind her, so you know that she is in spirit form, she's not on our physical plane, so to speak. On the menu I've written the words "My Girl" because that's the song that he played at her funeral. And at the bottom there's a feather, and the feather just represents visitation from the other side. This painting is very special to me because Jim is actually my daughter's granddad and Anne is her nan, so they're family to me, and their story is very, very special. All of the walls that you see in the art exhibition today have been built by the team at Battersea Men's Shed. So they are a group of men who are retired, and the Battersea Men's Shed is more of a social group. So it's where men within the local community can gather to work on projects, share tools, and just get out of the house sort of thing. So I actually went in just randomly off the street and said to one of them, "Do you happen to help people in the local community with projects?" And he said, "Well, yeah, what do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I need 8 walls and I need them to be this size and I want them built for this art exhibition. It has to be done by this date." And they worked so hard to make my dreams come true. Semi, this gentleman here, he drove me to and from every DIY store. This gentleman here, Richard, he does graphic design and architecture and things like that, and he actually designed these walls. So he did a digital design of every measurement, everything of the inside structure on how these were going to go before we even thought about building these, so that when we started ordering materials we knew exactly how many panels of wood, how many wheels, how many hinges, what size what thickness the wood needed to be, what everything. They just took the stress out of all of this for me. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be having this art show, because they just worked so hard and were so dedicated to making this happen. So I'm very grateful to them. So the name of the channel is Art by Goldheart on YouTube. I also have an Instagram and a website so that people can check out the work, watch the videos on both YouTube and Instagram, and they can contact me through all my social media platforms if they want to get in touch and ask more questions or have a commission or buy a piece of art. So all the artworks in the show are for sale, and I'm doing a bid to buy, so there's no price cap on them, there's no reserve. The idea is people come in, if they see anything that they like, then they just email me with the name of the painting, how much they want to bid, and their personal contact details, so that at the end of the show, whoever is the highest bidder, I will then contact with the good news.